Hey everybody. Okay, so we're doing a really interesting planting today with a very interesting plant, and the plant is American ginseng. So very beautiful plant, has bright red berries this time of year, and it's used a ton by humans. So if you go to southern Ohio, you're going to find people selling ginseng. And you don't see it all the time in the woods where we hike a lot because it is harvested so very much for people uses. And that's why we're putting some here. And if you saw Steve throw that out, that is plastic because this was a big dump here before we moved in here. And now there's all these beautiful plants. So we wanted to start putting some ginseng back. We've tried here once before and we didn't have great success. Now if you take a look here, there's some pretty beautiful soil here from letting all this organic matter continuing to decompose. But we also have some pretty decent drought going on here. We are in Morrill County, Ohio. We have severe drought here, and in Highland County, which is our other property in southern Ohio, it's exceptional drought. So Steve and I have been going back and forth. What do we do with these seeds? Because you can't store them very long. They got shipped out to us from United Plant Savers, who's working real hard to get these types of plants planted back. And they have to ship them when they're ripe. And they don't store, like I said. So we had this window. We kept them in the refrigerator moist for several weeks. And then we're just like, they gotta go in the ground. And this is our one chance of rain. We got some last night, but the soil is dry so deep in there that it'll be interesting to see our germination rates, because they don't want to dry out the seeds. From what we've learned, we are not ginseng experts. Let me put that back in there. And they also are loved to be eaten by rodents. And so Steve's working on that seed soil contact and then putting the organic matter back over. You can see from the bag, hey Steve, show that. We've got, I don't know, like 500 seeds here. We weren't joking around when we ordered these. They're like kind of little lentils. They're neat looking. And so we just thought, hey, we gotta go for it. We need to get it out today. We have another chance for rain later. And maybe it'll come. I mean, it's going to take inches and inches and inches of rain for the soil to wet back up. And by then we knew the seed will be moldy, and a moldy seed isn't going to germinate at all. So maybe we'll get 1% germinating, maybe, which would be way cool. It's more than we have. We have no ginseng here. And that's it's just been such an interesting year in growing conditions, because we got wonderful rain early on, and look how like that boy's working it to get the soil crumbly, and you can see who's got the easy job here. So early on we had that wonderful rain, and then we stopped raining at I think it was July 29th. And then we got some last night, and we're not quite sure how much, because a plant fell right over the rain gauge. So it says an inch, which is super exciting, but I can also see that a plant would add a lot more water to the rain gauge. And this area we're putting it in has some good shade. That's what ginseng likes. It also doesn't want to be in standing water areas. And it also doesn't want to dry out. Sounds really easy, huh? Yes, so we definitely are advocates for planting seeds, because when weather conditions are difficult, it's even harder to keep potted plants alive. And I'm going to actually post a video on that simultaneously today. And we put in hazelnuts, same thing. We've been watering. It's very difficult to keep them alive. So all this, though, is just encouragement. Like, don't give up. There are going to be some years that are really hard, and then other years that are much better. Now look here. See, one thing about planting things close to your house is you can give them supplemental water. This is black cohosh, And where we always look at black cohosh when we're hiking, none of them put on fruit this year because the water dried up. But I have been giving this one water so that, look, the seeds are going to develop. Now, we at the same place see American ginseng, and Steve and I, knowing that they are so over harvested, we take the red fruits off and we bury them. We remove the fruit and then we put them somewhere that they're likely to do well so that the plants aren't noticed, because those berries sure are noticeable. Now in this area right here, there's a lot of nice shade and these wonderful spice bush, and we also have this big lilac in the middle, and we're going to do a lot of thinning on the lilac this year because finally these native shrubs have really come in on their own. I want to show you one more thing here. Just thinking about seeds and planting and plants. Ginseng will often die back by this time of year if they are too dry. And that's what some of our plants have done out here. Some of them have kept up. These wild ginger are still standing, but I will be honest, I have added some water right in here because it gets really depressing seeing everything die back. Now the bottle brush, which is the brown, that's supposed to be died back right now, but look in there, that big hole, that's where a whole bunch of golden seal grew this spring, and they died back, and that's totally natural. The roots will still be alive. And maybe eventually if they're seeding and they need supplemental water, I'll make sure that they get that. But Steve's way over there, and what we're hoping for is more rain, and then for these leaves to turn colors, fall down, and then keep the soil moister and richer. And that's our hope, everybody. We're working on restoring more diversity to the land, and we won't give up even in not ideal conditions. Steve, do you agree?
Never give up.
Never give up. Keep planting, everybody.